Good afternoon. So, I was up all last night and I actually did get some stuff done. Mainly just redesigning my blog and finding some quotes for next week and writing a post for today. And then I realized I was actually getting kind of tired. So I went to sleep. Now it's 1 o'clock and I gotta get up first and for a shower. And then, I have a package at the UPS store that I'm gonna go pick up. So I will go do that. And then I'll probably show you what that package is.
We got a box. We got a box. And by we, I mean Levi. Levi got a box. My aunt sent him a gift, and I am super excited for it, mainly because baby clothes are super cute. I'm super excited for this box because I know it's baby shoes, and baby shoes are always cute. I don't think I've ever seen baby shoes that weren't cute. Maybe baby shoes that were kind of ridiculous, but ridiculously cute at the same time. So let's open this box and see what is inside. Alright, sorry for this terrible angle, but I have a very small tripod that sits only about 2-3 inches high, and so I don't really have anywhere else other than this counter to do anything on, so this is what's going to happen. Return information, blah blah blah, trash, boom. He's got himself a brand new pair of Vans. Oh my word. These are so cute. Check that out. Got himself some high tops. These are actually probably going to be really big on him. But you know what? He will grow into them. I didn't think a size, what is this, 6 would be that much bigger. He usually wears, I think, a size 5, but he also hates some of his other shoes, which I think are smaller. I think he has a size 4 pair of Converse that he wore a couple times and then grew out of. But look at that. That is super cute. Oh, man. And I'm glad that they didn't think it was smart to put actual shoelaces. These are like elastics. Yeah, he is gonna love wearing these. Here's the other one. I mean, pretty much the same thing. That's super cute. Oh man, I'm excited to get him back on Monday. We'll probably put these on just to see what how they fit. Not what they do, but how they fit. I know what they do. They protect your feet. They make it easy to not get your socks dirty. Oh, that's so exciting. Thank you, Theo Lucy. I appreciate that. I'm pretty sure I've already told you via text message that because you just texted me a few minutes ago asking if I got the shoes and how I like them. I say thank you again. And I say if you guys want to send him any more cute shoes like that, please 100% absolutely do. He can always use shoes. He loves to walk, and I don't know. Not that babies really need that many pairs of shoes, but seriously, baby shoes are cute. Alright, so I was actually just putting these away and I noticed they have a zipper in the back. That's awesome. I was actually looking at the footage of me talking about this and I realized, oh, there's a big zipper on the back side of it. Shows you how much I pay attention to things sometimes. Alright, so I'm about to get to work on some new signs. Actually, they're not new, they're just going to be plain geek signs that I normally do, but these ones are going to be ready to ship, unlike everything else, which is usually a custom order or order, then I make it, then I ship it, which I don't know if there's a benefit to actually making it beforehand. Some people might not want to wait for it to be made, I don't know. So we're going to find out. So this is step 1. I'm going to work on sanding and then paint, cut, paint, finish. I wonder if I can get it all done today. Today's been a very non-eventful day. I think I talked about this already. Didn't really do much until later this afternoon, and most of it was just stuff on my computer, writing some stuff. Nothing really worth recording because it would have just been me sitting there talking and looking at my computer and not talking and looking at my computer. So instead I decided that what I want to do is share some stories that I don't know how much of my family have ever heard before, just to share them because they're important to me and they're important to who I am, and I want to be able to feel closer to my family. With me always being away from everyone, that's kind of hard. And so today I was thinking about an incident that happened when I lived in LA, and
I kind of want to relive it in a sense by telling my story and also share it with somebody. And because I don't really have anybody to share with right now, I can put together this video and share it with a lot of people. And I hope that by sharing this story, people can kind of see a little bit more of who I am. So first things first, the story takes place in 2010. I believe it was about mid-2010. And I was actually living in Glendale, California, which is just outside of Los Angeles. And I was living with my girlfriend at the time. And like most of my relationships, it wasn't going very well. Not at all. I will freely admit that there were just bad decisions made all over. And I was really struggling with who I was and what I believed and what I wanted in life. Growing up, my parents raised me in the Catholic Church, and there reached a point in my life where I just didn't feel connected to anything. And religion especially was really hard for me to feel good about. I don't really know why, and there really wasn't ever anything that really solidified my decision to stop being religious. It just kind of happened. And so around this time in 2010, I had made the decision to just kind of start praying, which I don't know why seemed... I wanted it to be I wanted to feel like it was a foreign concept to me, but I feel like looking back on it, praying just seemed so much more natural to me then than at any other point in my life. And I don't know why that was, but I definitely notice now how natural it felt to pray. Well, during this time, I would call my mom almost every night, and she can tell you that I spend most of the time just complaining about life. Just complaining. And I can honestly say that really hasn't changed much, and I really would like it to change, but I think that's just my frame of mind sometimes. And I talk to my parents, it's because something bad's going on. So this night in particular, I was coming home from work, and where I lived was off one of the main roads in Glendale. And usually there were quite a lot of cars, and there were people walking, and I don't think it really was that late at night that this took place. I don't exactly remember what time it was, but it was dark. And I remember I was on the phone, and I happened to realize that it was empty. The streets were empty. There weren't any cars. There weren't any people. It was bizarre. It really was really bizarre. Which makes me wonder what time of night it was, because it almost seemed like it was really late at night. But what happened next makes me wonder if it wasn't. So as I was walking, I noticed, obviously there wasn't anybody around up until a certain point. I happened to look back behind me, and I saw this guy who just somehow, kind of appeared out of nowhere. And I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, that was weird. And then a few seconds later, he kind of caught up to me, and he saw I was wearing a Slipknot t-shirt. And he said, "Hey, you listen to Slipknot?" And I was like, yeah. And I'm still on the phone with my mom at this time. So, I'm talking to her, and this guy just kind of said something to me. He's like, "That's cool. I used to listen to Slipknot all the time, too." I was like, all right, that's cool. Now, I was the kind of person where when I lived in LA, if a strange person walked up to me and started talking to me, I figured they were either trying to get something from me or trying to rob me. That was pretty much my mindset. So he kept trying to talk to me, and I'm still on the phone with my mom, and I am getting kind of annoyed because I'm like, dude, leave me alone. Obviously you can see I'm on the phone. I don't know you. Why are you trying to talk to me? Well, anyway, he starts to tell me about how he used to listen to Slipknot, but then he found God and realized that Slipknot wasn't music that was good to listen to. And I kind of looked at him like, what does God and music have to do with each other? Seriously, Slipknot, they're not devil worshippers, they maybe use some images that are very dark and associated to devil worshippers at
somewhat, but they're not devil worshippers. They're just making music. And I was like, that doesn't affect you. That you can't just judge something off of what it looks like or what you think it means, because that's not what it is. And we kind of went back and forth, and it got pretty heated. My mom actually was a little worried, because at one point I had the phone, I was still talking to her, not really talking to her, but like the phone was still like in my hand, and she could hear us going back and forth. And I remember at one point I was just like, "Hey mom, look, I gotta go. This guy won't leave me alone," and I hung up. And that freaked my mom out, because she's the same way. Like, if a stranger comes up to you in the middle of the street, I'm sure she would feel the same way about it. So here we are, me and him going back and forth about this, and I just think he's just the stupidest person I've ever met. Like, why are you trying to get me to stop listening to Slipknot? Like, what does it matter what I do? And like I said, I had just started praying to God, and I really didn't know like how experiences like this, I really didn't know where he was coming from with this. Like, I didn't understand why somebody would say the things he was saying. And so we were going back and forth, and finally came to a point where I needed to cross the street, because I lived on the other side of the street, and this guy was just not leaving me alone. So I was like, I'm going to cross the street here. And I don't know what happened or why. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed about what was going on, but I remembered something that I had felt when I was praying, something that I had felt I needed to say in my prayer, and it was, God, if you're real, send me a sign to know. And in that moment, it kind of became clear that I needed to stop talking, and I needed to listen to this guy. First off, I don't think that if you believe God, you shouldn't listen to certain kinds of music. I think you should use your best judgment, and if something makes you feel angry and upset and want to do bad things, maybe you shouldn't listen to that kind of music. So I was talking to this guy, and I was arguing with him. And like I said, this sort of, sometimes I think it was a voice, like an audible voice that I felt inside of me that just kind of said, you need to listen to him. And that's exactly what it was. It was something that I felt that just said, you need to listen to him. And so I kind of stopped him. And I mean, at this point, we're like in the middle of the street. And I said, I don't know why I feel this way, and I don't know why my attitude's changed, but I feel like I need to listen to you. And so I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let you say what you have to say, and then I'll respond. And he was just like, okay, cool. And so he started telling me about how he came to know God. And I don't remember exactly what he said, because I don't think that part was important for me to learn at that time. But what I remembered is how we met, the circumstances that occurred in order for us to meet. Because you see, when he found God, he stopped listening to certain kinds of music. And the artist Eminem was a certain artist that he had stopped listening to, and he had said that he wouldn't listen to anymore. And so he was actually at work, and his coworkers had started playing Eminem in the back room, and he wasn't comfortable with it. And there wasn't a manager around; it was just him and his coworkers. And so he made the decision that instead of staying there and listening to them and trying to put up with it, he was just going to leave. So he just grabbed his stuff and left work, and he just happened to run across me. And I mean, quite literally, we are still the only two people that I see on the road anywhere. So this is what I'm trying to figure out what time it was, because that is strange. And he says as he was walking, he saw me, and he just felt like he needed to talk to me. And I don't know why that's the only thing I remember about that entire encounter, was the fact that it just all kind of happened. But I feel like since that moment, I haven't doubted so many things, even though they just kind of happened. And that's why for me, learning about God, joining a church, and living the way that I choose to live, it isn't something that I can back up with like proof, because it just kind of happened. Like, that moment when I met this guy changed everything for me. I mean, it would be another year before I really got myself out of that entire bad situation that I was in. My life up until that point was hard. I just kind of felt lost. And meeting this guy made me curious about something that I wasn't really all that sure of. I think I had ignored God for so long because I didn't know how to get to know him. And it would take time, but because I took that moment to listen to this feeling that just said you need to listen to him, when it happened again later on, and it was when 3 missionaries knocked on my door, and again it was you need to listen to them, it was easier to do because I'd done it before. And so that's why I am the way that I am today, where I think sometimes my family thinks I'm a little cuckoo because I just kind of do things and they don't make sense, that I just kind of just do things on a whim. But most of the time I can honestly say it's not because I go, oh, this is what I want to do and I'm just going to do it, because I'm not that type of person. There are so many things that I want to do that I don't do because I am terrified to do them. Actually, everything that I would like to do, I'm terrified to do. But if I experience what I experienced at night, this sort of, I can't even describe what it is. I mean, I know what it is now. As a believer in God, I know that it's the Holy Ghost and that's how it speaks to me. But when that happens, it's like having a strength that is undefeatable. You know, there's no fear. My mind just kind of stops doing everything other than listening to that voice. And it's really hard to describe besides that. Like, everything else around me, my worries, people, they all just kind of disappear. You know, for all I know, my memory is skewed. Maybe there were more people out there. Maybe there were cars on the road. But because I was so close to that spirit in that moment, the only things that I can remember are me and him, because that's what needed to happen. But I don't know. I think, though, that was the biggest moment in my life, and it changed me in a way that I never thought possible. And I mean, it would be quite a while before I really made any big changes. Like, after that happened, I think I went in the complete opposite direction of God for a little bit and went down an even darker path. But it was a step. It was a step forward towards something great. And I'm grateful for that, because I think without that moment, I wouldn't have my son in my life today. And he is one of the greatest things that has ever happened to me. And as much as the situation with my marriage is hard and difficult to deal with, I really am so happy to have Levi. And so that moment has become so much more important to me. And that feeling is a feeling that I wish I could have all the time, because it did change everything about me. And I know I keep saying that, and I feel like I keep saying the same things over and over, but that's what's important for the story, is that moment changed me forever. And I cannot deny that moment was God literally answering my prayer. And I think he can do that for anybody. But we have to be willing to listen, because had I not listen to that quite literal voice say you need to listen to him, had I just kept arguing and arguing and arguing and arguing, I don't think anything would have changed. I don't think I would have had that moment, and I don't think that I would be here today. And that's scary to think about, because I mean, my whole life would have been different. I honestly believe that. And so I hope sharing that story kind of helps you guys understand a bit more of why it seems like the past couple of years I've just been making these crazy decisions. I know that God can be a part of our lives. And I hope that you guys understand that I don't want to push God on you guys, but because God is so much a part of my life, that's really hard for me to ignore the role that he plays in other people's lives. And I think a lot of you in my family now are wanting to believe in God too. And I just hope that you recognize those moments in your life where he has spoken to you, where he has impacted your life in a way that is beyond explanation, that you accept it for what it is and accept that it's real. And if you haven't felt that, give it time, because I look back on my life now and I recognize more times that's happened. But in the moment, I didn't think that would have been God, because I didn't know God and I didn't know, what it felt like to have him in my life. But I recognize now that those were instances of him showing me that he was there, and I think that's normal. I think it's normal that we don't always recognize God until after the fact. But I know that he is a part of everybody's lives, and maybe that's hard for people to understand or fathom. And I think sometimes it's still hard for me to believe in God, even though, like I said, and I think that's just part of the journey, is to try and wrap your mind around that. And who knows, maybe all of us are wrong about that. And you know what? If I am wrong about it, I don't care, because it's made me a better person, and it helps me to find more happiness in life to believe in that. Just like, someone who doesn't believe in it, it makes them happy to not believe in it, because they don't feel maybe constrained by rules or, an organization they feel like is controlling. Like, for me, I don't see religion as being controlling, or my church as being controlling. I think I disagree with the culture sometimes. Okay, I disagree with it quite a bit. Yeah, I think sometimes the culture just doesn't work. But I think that's a part about being a part of this, that you can make a difference, but you have to be willing to work for it. But that's not what I'm here to say. I'm here to just let you guys know, like, this is who I am. This is a part of me. And I don't know if I've ever shared that story with any of you. I'm sure I have, but I'd like to share more stories like that and just kind of talk about the things that I've experienced in life. I think that's what we're going to do. On days when I just don't really have much because I'm working on stuff, I'll just share stories. And I hope you guys enjoy them.